In this video, we're going to take a look at the debris flow from Hurricane Helene that impacted the Black Mountain home here in the Swannanoa Valley of western North Carolina. The footage was taken on October the 29th. My name is Dominic Tavernitti. I've lived here with my family in Black Mountain for about 8 years now, and I've been capturing some of the impact as well as our recovery from the storm. Let me flip over and take a look at where we are to get everybody oriented. Over to the west, where the left side of the screen is Asheville. And to the right, we can see Black Mountain to the east. We're going to be right near the town of Swannanoa, taking a look at the Black Mountain home and Black Mountain home for children. I'm going to zoom in on the specific location we're going to be taking a look at. The flow came right down into Shepard of the Hills Retreat Center for the Black Mountain home. If we take a look at the terrain, we'll get a sense of what the topography looks like in this area. Let me trace the flow. It started up near the ridge, following this path down and ending right down here. Now, as the video gets started, I'm going to be driving west on Old Highway 70 and taking a right onto Lake Eden Road, and then coming up this way and to the retreat. Now, I've showed a picture of this intersection in a previous video where the water had washed that road out. Take a look over to the right, this building here. I'll show a photo a little bit later with the water flowing by that building. And then this is Cheryl's place. There's both a cafe as well as a thrift store, and these are revenue streams for Black Mountain Home that they operate. I really can't say enough great things about this organization, I'm going to share some more information on them a little bit later. Over to the right, this is all of their property. They have some llamas, goats, and more livestock. And then that is the all part of their facility over to the right. And that's the main campus. We're going to take a left here. If you went straight where those cars are stopped, you would go up to Lake Eden. We're going to take a left here to go up to their other campus. And let me hit pause right here because I have received some questions. We're going by the North Carolina State Veterans Home. I've received quite a few inquiries whether it's okay and the impact from the storm. I went and looked on the website for both the government website as well as the organization, I believe, that manages it. And unfortunately, they don't have a single word about the storm, the condition, or what is happening there. Perhaps I can find some information for those asking. Now, this retreat center is another revenue source for Black Mountain Home. It's used for retreats and weddings and events for people to rent it out. This here on the left is a debris pile that they have been cleaning up from the flow, and they've been pulling it out. And as we cross this road, this is, as I understand or could see, about the end of the debris flow. Over to the right, we can see one of the cabins, and now we are looking at pretty much the end of the debris flow. On our left is a road with cabins that were unaffected, and then over to the right, between us and the cabins, beyond those trees, is kind of the termination of this flow as it dropped out trees and stones and boulders and such. And then up to the left-hand side of the screen, we can see the dining hall. So this is what I was greeted with when I drove in, and this is a heavy-duty dually truck that was completely tacoed. You just is a good indication of the power of a debris flow like this. Now we're walking behind the dining hall, which was damaged quite a bit. And we're going to walk out right into the middle of the debris flow. Those are not bees that you can hear. Those are still chainsaws going. Now you can hear me walking on a deck. We'll take a look at a satellite view here to show you the scope of the damage here. So if we flip over to the satellite view and we zoom in, you can see this entire area. The direction we're looking on the video is essentially looking north, up, straight up this direction here. And this flow basically came down this way. There was a lot of debris behind here, so it was probably dropping stuff out much further. And if we zoom all the way in, you can see there was some structure here, and I believe I'm standing on the deck of it now. And we're going to come back and take a closer look at some of those structures, but first we're going to head up to the very start of this debris flow. Over to the right is a house, and they've since repaired and put a dirt road in so that people can get back, or I should say out of their residence. Now this debris flow was about 4,000 feet long, and it dropped about 1,300 feet over that path. So on average, I think that's about a 20% gradient. But from where the flow started, or from where it ended, this area down here is fairly is not a very steep incline, but as we start going up this direction, it becomes very steep. Just for scale, of course, you'll see me sitting at the base of this ravine. This ravine does not represent how deep this debris flow carved out. It did carve some out, but as you can see over to the right, you know, this is relatively untouched. So it did carve out in here and just stripped out a lot of earth, trees, from the sides of this ravine, and it did deepen it quite a bit. And as with the other debris flow that I looked at over in Grovemont, it pretty much carved its way down to bedrock where it could. These couple clips, I'm just taking a look at a few of the interesting rock structures I saw, because this terrain really changes as you kind of go from the bottom of the flow up to the ridge. is an interesting spot. So it's pretty tight. On one wall is a rock. And then on this wall is mud, a clay. And there must be a stream still coming down through here, which has kept it from getting dry, like the stuff above. But if you're not from North Carolina or aren't familiar with the red clay here, I had no idea how this clay can just liquefy. When I was stuck down in Old Fort and talking to some of the crews that were going up Interstate 40 to clear the slides up there, they said they were having trouble picking it up because it was like a milkshake. They scoop it up and it was flowing out of the trucks, and they had a really hard time. As it gets hard, as you saw me stomping on the ground, if you can see, this sediment is hard. I can't even make a footprint in it. It's like cement. It's virtually impossible to dig in. And then in this state with just enough moisture, it's almost like a potting clay that'll really hold its form. Well, we've reached the first fork in the flow. And the stream is coming from the left fork here. And then a debris flow on the right. Let's flip over and take a look at that again on the topographical map. So we are right at this intersection right here. And this is the path of the stream that's actively flowing, but the debris flow came down this way. And here I'm just going to take the drone up. At this point, the terrain really starts to pitch quite a bit steeper. All right, the terrain is getting really steep here. A few loose rocks. Not sure how much higher I'm going to be able to go. May let the drone do the rest of the work. It turned to be quite a challenging climb. I didn't extend myself beyond what I thought was safe. There's plenty of rock climbing and great trails in this area, and I don't know this was much different than that. I was very cautious since this is I could say unsettled, or debris is sitting in a new place. So I was just making sure everything was settled for me to walk and climb on. Okay, so I'm about at the apex, or the very top of the debris flow here above Shepard of the Hills. What I'm standing on is a really large, smooth rock at a pretty tight angle. I'm sure it's hard to tell from here. A lot of this I can't stand on. It's really steep. Of course, some of it is almost vertical. When you get to this point, it drops straight down and even undercuts. But I would imagine with it building up speed up here, really helps it get momentum and keep it as it heads down the mountain. Okay, let's take a look at this tree real quick. I'll show you some scale here in this next clip, but this tree, or a cluster of trees, survived the initial debris flow that started off of these rocks that I'm standing on. And with my boots on, I'm about 6 foot. Hopefully this information is really helpful. What I'm taking away and what I saw at the other slide that I looked at, they both have this in common towards the top of the slide, is you have an earth layer, dirt, roots, over really smooth rock. And that other slide was the case beyond, that's a rock, not dirt, right there, but above community. That, it's smooth again. We'll see it on the drone footage. It's much like this, and so, it started to give way, and probably just had the right condition to build up a little speed and slide, and then once that started, the impact of it was unbelievable. Now I'm going to pause here and flip over and show you a video by Philip over at the Geo Models. And he covers this slide in this video. I'll leave a link to it.
Fundamentally, debris flows follow, they follow water channels, right? And if you have terrain above you that looks like that has those, we'll emphasize them a little bit more here, that has those kind of steep outcrops, material accumulating up there, and you're in line with it or connected to it sort of by a channel network, that's absolutely a place to think about. Now, does that mean you can't live in these places? Absolutely not. Does that mean you should flee the mountains? Absolutely not. You just have to be aware when extreme weather conditions are present. All right. 5 inches, 24 hours. Yeah, that happens a fair bit in the Appalachians. Some years it doesn't. Some years it happens many times. If you know that's coming, be aware of it and plan accordingly. And I would imagine after this event, we will hear more about that when extreme precipitation is predicted, right? So we'll hop back to the maps now.
So I've received a few comments from people about having considered moving here to this area, and because of this event, reconsidering it. I think Philip makes a really good point there. I think this event will help guide future development, but perhaps more just when to be cautious and when to be aware that these events can happen where you live. You can see that this layer is almost just a carpet over very smooth rock. The trees, the roots, and dirt that have built up over time. So we can see Owen High School here to the left, the North Carolina Home for Veterans here to the right. Now we are looking south. We're looking at the Swannanoa mountain range on the south side of the Swannanoa Valley. And then let me pause here. This large building is the Ingalls Distribution Center. Now let me flip over to our map here and show you which direction we're looking right now. So we are up here on this ridge, and we are looking this direction. So over the Swannanoa Mountains is Garin Creek. You've probably seen that in the news. It was a very impactful slide over there that took a number of lives. And now we're looking up the North Fork Swannanoa River. And we can see Burnett Reservoir up towards the top of the screen. So we are looking at the Black Mountains now. Let me come back over to the map and reorient us. So we are now looking right over towards Mount Mitchell, looking over the Burnett or North Fork Reservoir. And then as we pan to the left after this shot, we are going to be looking over the Bee Tree Reservoir. So you can see the peak of Mount Mitchell. It's over 6,600 feet. And if you wanted to see more information on the North Fork Reservoir and that watershed, I'll share a link to that video. And here's the Bee Tree Reservoir. And we are essentially looking north west at this point. I also did a video on Bee Tree Creek and Bee Tree Reservoir. I'll leave a link to that video as well. Now we're looking west towards Asheville. You can see Interstate 40 that goes down the Swannanoa Valley. Warren Wilson is in here. We're looking at the town of Swannanoa down here. And again, looking south at the Swannanoa Mountains. And Lake Lore is essentially down that direction. and Chimney Rock. I'm sure you've heard quite a bit about what happened and the devastation in that community. Just about in the center of the screen now was that convergence between the stream, which would be off to the right, and the debris flow here to the left. You can see a number of trees down over here, and that's an east-facing slope. The strongest winds were coming from the east during the storm. Generally, it wind whipped in all kinds of directions given the topography. So we saw this house on the way up. Now at the top of the screen, this is the dining hall. And we see Owen High School starting to come into view now. Now again, just for reference, let's come back and take a look at the map so we can see what this normally looks like. So we're probably roughly to scale. You can see the dining hall here and the house on the screen and how forested it is. Now when we flip over to the video, you can see how much that debris flow really carved out, how many trees it must have taken out. Well, I hope the footage from this debris flow is helpful, helpful to residents, the community, and even those that don't live here are curious and concerned about what's going on here and kind of understanding how things happened. Now, before we head down off the mountain, I'm going to fly the drone down and we're going to go take a look at some of the impact of it. But before we do, I'd like to share a little bit about Black Mountain Home. Again, I'll leave a link in the description for those interested in supporting our areas and especially those impacted by this particular a debris flow, I'd encourage you to go directly to their website. Now I'm going to read something here for you for those that might just be listening while YouTube is playing. This is on the Black Mountain Home website. We're so very thankful none of our kids were injured. Thank you for praying for us as we recover from this devastating catastrophe. A landslide obliterated 4 buildings on our campus and severely damaged 6 more, including our dining hall, a staff member's home, guest cabins, and recreation buildings. Your gift will help us rebuild and continue caring for children during and after the storm. Now here are some of the photos that they had taken. I told you on the drive-in, take a note of that building over to the right, and this is some of the water flowing through and around that building that took out Lake Eden Road. And now I'm going to play just a very short clip so you can understand the mission of Black Mountain Home. This is worth a watch.
Our students, many of them have not had the opportunity to have a childhood. And that's a recurring story over and over again. Kids that just haven't had the chance to play, haven't had a chance to have fun, go on a youth retreat, being really silly, cutting up, having healthy relationships with adults. Those are things that our students have never experienced.
A lot of our kids come to us from situations of abuse or neglect. They really just need somebody to step into their life and love them and build a relationship with them. All of our kids strive for normalcy. They want to be able to come home to a mom and dad who love them, will spend time with them, whether it's throwing a ball, reading a story, building a relationship that's strong enough just to listen and care. The relationship's the first piece, and that is the most important thing. Nobody really cares what you say until they know you care.
When I came here, this is not what I expected, because I did expect another institutionalized group home, but it's not that way here. We had house parents that are a married couple, so it felt just like they were our parents. They helped us do our homework, played with us, we ate dinner together, we did chores together, we watched TV together. We were a family.
And this is my family. This is where I feel loved. I feel
So, again, just an amazing mission in the work that this group is doing. So if you want to give, I would highly encourage you to go to their website. And now we're going to fly down the mountain and take a closer look at the debris flow. I remember the scar on that tree is probably about 10 to 12 feet high. Amazingly is what's not left behind here. For the most part, there are not piles of mud and rock. It seemed to have all made its way down the mountain. So we're back to that convergence of the debris flow and the stream coming in from the right. So we're looking up the slope and then back down the slope now. Now that stream over to the right, there's a ridge between that stream and this path of the flow. And there are a number of trees down over there, but there was not a debris flow coming down it. I'm sure there was a tremendous amount of water since it is the path of a stream already. But it did not send a lot of debris downhill. Oh, we get down near the water and still wet sediment. We're coming back into this opening where they've restored a road to the homes on the other side. In the debris are vehicles and equipment and found pieces of foundations. So we're going to take a look here. We're standing down in the middle of the debris flow here. And it appears that the dining hall, about 2/3 of it is still standing, which may be a blessing. Perhaps that 2/3 can be renovated and another wing added onto it, but it just ripped it right off of the end of that building. Now I pause here to take a look at where they have trenched to route the stream probably back into its original path behind the cabins that we're going to turn around and walk down to. For those that have been here and stayed in these cabins or even been to the retreat while it's open, I would love to hear some comments and stories about it. I'm familiar with the Black Mountain Home for Children at their main campus, but not this retreat. This is my first time here. So I would imagine as we're getting down towards the end of the debris flow, it starts to slow down and drop items. Some of these trees no longer had enough momentum to knock down the trees in front of them, and you see the field of stones and boulders, and the ground is elevated here at this point from all the sediment that was dropped. I believe this is mounded up here because they were digging out this cabin, and you'll see the height of the staining on the wall of that cabin. I saw a photo of a bunch of uniformed personnel, I believe it was camouflage, so maybe with the National Guard that had come to dig out. If anybody knows exactly who that was, drop me a comment. Well, they have a lot of work to do here, and the sooner they can get this retreat functioning again, the sooner they're generating revenue for themselves. So every dollar that could go to this organization very well spent. Apologies for the heavy breathing. My conditioning isn't what it used to be. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate the comments that I've received on previous videos. If there's a place that you'd like me to go cover, please do drop me a comment. I am attempting to get out into the community and capture more. It's coming very slow at this point. But thank you for watching, and please keep your eye out for more videos.